Hello everyone, today I just want to show you how I got a shot from this to this. I don't actually know how it's going to look because I'm going to create it live with you guys now, but yeah, you guys get to see the end result here. Okay, so as you guys can see in my timeline here, I have quite a nice shot. It's obviously shot in a flat profile. If you guys want to grade along with me, this shot I got from Pixels. I didn't shoot this myself. It's from Emad Clicks. I'll link it in the description below. Go give him some love. He has quite a lot of amazing content that he's just giving out for free. And as you can see here in the title of this post that he made, this is S-Log3 footage that you can use to practice color grading, which is what I'm going to do now. Okay, so immediately what I realized, the feeling of the shot that I was getting was it's quite a magical, kind of carefree, happy shot. And I wanted to use the grading to accentuate that. So let's go into the color page. Quick note, if I use any, as you can see at the bottom here, if I use any shortcuts, you will be able to see them appear in the bottom of the screen, as you can see. So as I mentioned before, this is shot in S-Log3, so the first thing we want to do is bring it from a flat log profile to Rec 709, which is the standard normal color and the standard brightness and overall contrast. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a color space transform node. The color space transform node basically allows you to take your flat footage, input the settings you shot it, and then transform it to any other color space. So for example, I'm going to take S-Log3 and I'm going to bring it to Rec 709. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new node, and this is going to be where I start all my other settings in, and this is going to be the end where I add the color space transform. So we're going to go to the library, we're going to search color, there we go, and we're going to drag color space transform at the bottom. Okay, so by input color space, you're going to put in the color space that Sony uses. So in that case, it's Sony S-Gamut, so let me just do that. Say Sony S-Gamut, and then input gamma is where you're going to put your color profile that you used, and in our case it's S-Log3 footage, so we're going to go to S-Log3, there we go, and immediately you can see it's brought back to, let me just show you before and after. It immediately adds that color and it looks nice and natural and nice and colorful. And then with the input color space here, we're going to just put Rec 709 for both of them, so let's just go to Rec 709. Yeah, so this, I'm just going to label this and I'm going to call this CST for color space transform. Okay, so now that we have the color space transform sorted out, I'm going to deal with the actual look of this clip. So the first thing I'm going to go deal with is the highlights. So let me just do that. Highlights. As you can see, it's a bit too bright for me over here. So I am going to go over to the color wheels, and I'm just going to go to actually the log, and I'm going to go but low, just get a bit more of that detail. Don't know if you guys can, if YouTube can, like, if YouTube shows this, but I'm just gonna deal with the highlights a bit. There we go. Make a new node, and this is now where I'm going to deal with all these colors. I really don't think these colors harmonize with each other, and like I said, I want a calm, warm, like harmonizing look that kind of accentuates this nice whimsical shot that's happening here. So when I deal with different aspects of a shot, when I'm editing different parts, I don't use serial nodes, I use parallel nodes. So with parallel nodes, it allows you to make simultaneous changes to one clip without affecting each change. So for example, if you use a layer node or serial nodes, whatever you do to the previous node will affect what happens afterwards, because parallel nodes really allow you to individually change each part, like parts of your clip, without really damaging the changes that you made before. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of think, okay, what do I want to change? I want to change this dress, I want to change the grass, and I want to kind of fiddle with the umbrella. Yeah, and then maybe I want to add some other effects, but that's going to be in another parallel. So the main thing is I want to make a parallel node section for all the different colors that I'm going to deal with. So with this I think I'll use to change the dress. And let me just make another one, option P. And this is going to be the grass, and then option P again, this is going to be the umbrella, because I kind of want this section. The background is kind of non-consequential at the moment, but the foreground here with the grass and the dress and the umbrella, those colors, the green, the red, the purple, I don't really think they flow together. I kind of want more of a soft, dreamy color scheme. So I'm using these nodes, as you can see here, these nodes to change the colors of the clip. So the first clip I'm going to name dress, oh actually no, I'm going to do grass first. I'm going to call this grass. I'm gonna call this I'm gonna call this the umbrella. There we go. I'm gonna spread them out a bit. There we go. And with the grass, let's just go to the hue versus hue, and let me just see how well can I change. There we go. I'm immediately getting a more warmer look. So you can see if I go too far, you're getting this artifacting, so let's just be careful with that. Let me just eyedrop. Oh, no, I'm gonna go rather wide. There we go. Let's go more into the warm section. There we go. Let's zoom out and see. Immediately, let me show you before and after. That immediately will go. You might think, okay, this is a bit dirty or a bit like morbid because you kind of killing the grass off. But trust me, like the color scheme I'm going for is going to be more of like, it's going to work with the color scheme that I'm going for in my head. So let's go to the terrace. I don't like this purple, so I'm going to select purple. Or I think it's actually more with this blue. So let me select this blue. And let me just, yeah, there we go. There we go. Immediately, I think that overall this clip is more cohesive with the color scheme. So let me work a bit more with this. I want it to be maybe a bit more teal. There we go. I like that. Okay, so now let me go to actual purple, and I'm gonna, as you can see, there's some weird purple artifacting happening here. I want to get rid of that, so I'm gonna go to the hue versus saturation, and I'm just gonna bring that down. As you can see here, let me show you before, after. So I'm kind of bringing that down. Let me go full screen. Okay, before I work on the umbrella, I'm just gonna go here to this mixer node, and I'm gonna go Option S to add another node, and I'm going to call this saturation. I just want to add a bit more color so I can see overall how this is working. Let me make it 80. It's a bit too much. Just make it 70. Nice. I'm actually gonna make it 55. I don't want it to be too colorful. I think I'm gonna add some. Okay, let's go with the umbrella. I think I want to make this a more either softer or a richer red. I'm gonna see how this changes things. And with the umbrella, I'm also gonna see if I can just use the qualifier to only edit that. So let me do this so I can see what I'm doing. Nice. Let me soften it a bit. Let me go out of that. Nice. There we go. So now it only affects the umbrella, not the skin. Yeah, there we go. I want to make it a bit more saturated. I want it to stand out a bit more. Let me go to a wide angle. Okay, with the actual colors, let me show you the before and after. This is with the color parallel node stack. This is without. As you can see, I immediately like this cohesive or like this calm color palette. And now it's time for my favorite bit. After the the manipulation of the colors, I'm gonna add the effects. I'm gonna make another parallel node stack, and this is gonna be where I add the vignettes, I add the blur, I add the glow, the soft, maybe halation. It all depends on what you think will add to the look and the feel that you're going for. So let me just add a new node, and let's make this a parallel stack. So let's start with 3 in the meantime. The first thing I want to do is I want to add halation, because I want to see how that affects the shot and adds to the magic. So let me call this halation. There we go. Go get the halation effect. Drag it on there, and immediately let me show before and after. We're getting like this soft but bright magical look. It's adding this richness to all the colors as well, which I do like, but I want to lower the saturation because I don't want it to be too much, because I don't want it to be poppy. I want it to be a bit poppy, but mainly just the dreamy, calming feel to the overall look. I like this. Let me actually look at the actual character. Let me make the spread a bit less. As you can see, this spreads the halation. Make it a bit thinner. Let me play the shot. immediately I like how magical it feels. Let me actually add some stabilization, because I think the shot jitters a bit. So let me go, I think translation, smooth it a bit. Let's see how this, yeah, it does affect the shot. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to add that kind of streaky blur around the character, because it kind of makes them feel like this is a dream, and also it kind of focuses the viewer to the character and kind of feels like they're in their own little world. So I like to add this radial blur effect, which is basically what the effect's called in DaVinci Resolve. So now I'm going to call this red blur. Let me just do, there we go, red blur. It's a very cool blur. Now as you can see, there's this X here which you can choose where the center is. So as you can see here, let me make it extreme so you can actually see what it's doing. This icon here is where the center is, where the least amount of blur is, kind of where you want it to focus on. So I'm going to put it to this character. I think she stays more or less, I'm going to put it in between like here, and then I'm going to make it way less. As you can see, let me zoom in to show you what it's doing. It's like a vignette, but like a blur vignette. So to make it even less, I'm going to control it with a mask, circular mask, and I'm going to put it about here. Let me soften it up a bit. I'm going to invert the mask, because right now it's only adding the blur inside the mask. I want it to appear outside, so I'm going to invert it. I'm going to put it here. Let me just see what it's doing by making it extreme. As you can see, let me make this big and show you. This is definitely like a dreamy effect, but I don't want it too much. I kind of wanted to see the whole landscape, but I do want it to have the outer edges kind of streaky to add that to that dream effect. So let me make it a little bit, only a little bit. Now let me rewind the shot. Nice, it's a very subtle effect, but I like it. I like what it's doing. And I also want to kind of use the lens distortion to stretch the outer edges of the shot to kind of make it extra dreamy. So let me just show you how that looks. Lens distortion. As you can see, it does the opposite initially, but then you can just use these sliders here. And if I go super extreme, you can see how it really stretches the edges. You can see here. It's quite extreme, but I just want a little bit of a stretch. I might also erase the mid-tone detail here, which basically just softens the image a bit. So let me get this up here. Let me put this at the end, and let me just add a new node, and I'm going to call this soften. Let me just zoom in. I don't want to erase too much detail. Let me just go to the negatives here. You'll find this in the log section, by the way. Before we go, I'm just going to grab still, because there's another shot from our friend Imad that actually is part of the same sequence, I think, where she's also running here. I want to kind of see how this works, this grade works for this shot as well. So I'm just going to drag it on top, and then I'm just going to go to gallery and apply the grade. It looks like very magical, but as you can see, it doesn't exactly work. You would have to do some changes, but that's the cool thing. You can just go in here, and let me just get rid of the gallery section again, and then you can just tweak these nodes to kind of work with the look. Let me just lower the brightness. Immediately we're getting a better look. I actually want to increase the saturation with the shot, so let me make it 65. I really like this look. Let me add some stabilization. I think with this you need, I think, perspective, because it does shift perspective a lot. And yeah. And yeah, that's the end of this grade with me style video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and yeah, bye.